I was giving my story about how I became a Christian from a Muslim background to a group of people. It was like a breakfast for men to come and engage in some of these intellectual issues. And I was giving my testimony, my story about why I became a Christian. And if you've ever heard my story, it's online, you can look at it, there's a bunch of different places you can look at it. You'll notice something. I didn't reject Islam because it was false. I embraced the gospel of Jesus because I thought it was true. So I didn't reject this as darkness, I embraced this as light. I was drawn to that light. So when you hear me talk about my story, I don't like to criticize Islam. Now, that doesn't mean I agree with it. I don't agree with it, but I don't criticize it because that's not how I came to faith. Other people came to faith by disagreeing with it. I didn't. I disagreed with it theologically, but I didn't try to poke fun at it or anything like that. So I was giving my story to a group of people, and there's a guy in the front row, and he is like taking like furious notes. And I don't mean like he was angry at me. I just mean that his pen was moving so furiously that I thought a fire extinguisher was probably a good idea. So here he is just doing his thing. And I know, as a public speaker, I can tell you that's usually the first person who will come and talk to you after the talk is done. So you close your notes and he'll pop up and he'll come talk to you, which is, by the way, my favorite part of what I get to do. So if you want to chat afterwards, I am definitely going to be here for you. I got nowhere else to go. I might as well chat with you guys. And last year, it was a tremendous time I was so enriched and so enlightened by being with you guys. I think it's hilarious that I'm standing up here speaking to people who go to a school I had no chance of getting into. So literally everybody here is smarter than me. But so this guy pops up after I'm done talking. And he said, I really appreciate the way you didn't disagree with Islam when you gave your talk. And I said, well, I get why you say that, but I want to tell you I did. Because if I didn't disagree with it, I would have stayed a Muslim and spared myself and a lot of my family a whole lot of pain. But go ahead, do you have a question? He says, yeah, I have a question for you. He's like, I want to show you something. Now, if you're a public speaker and someone says, I want to show you something after you speak, it's going to be a long conversation. And that's what he did. He had a diagram he had drawn. So he drew his diagram, and in the middle of the diagram was this scribbled capital T in the middle of it. And he said, this represents the objective absolute truth. He says, I believe that there is an objective truth out there. I said, so do I. Good, we're off to a good start. He said, but we don't know all of it. None of us knows all of it. I said, that's good. I believe the same thing. I'm not omniscient, neither are you, so we're off to a good start. Neither you nor I are God. So far, so good. But he had also drawn in a circle surrounding the capital T, all these little lowercase t's, like 20 of them. And they all had arrows pointing towards the capital T. You can see where this is going, right? And he said, this is us. All of us have incomplete versions of the truth. And because all of us have equally incomplete versions of the truth, no one's version of the truth is more valid than anybody else's. And so we all basically have to learn to agree. I said, wait a minute. You said all of us have equally valid versions of the truth? And he said, yeah, that's what I believe, because we're all equally incomplete in our versions of the truth. I said, well, wait a minute, hold on. Are you telling me that Pol Pot, Mao Zedong, Stalin, Adolf Hitler, Idi Amin, I can keep going. You're telling me that these men all had equally valid versions of the truth compared to Mother Teresa or Desmond Tutu or Jesus of Nazareth or Muhammad, or I could list off a bunch of people. You're telling me that their versions of the truth are equally valid? This is exactly what he said. And this is a very well-read man. He knew his stuff. He said, I can tell you this. I don't prefer their version of the truth, but because my version is incomplete, I have no place to disagree with them. And I said, buddy, if there's one person on the face of this earth you should feel completely comfortable disagreeing with and have no judgment of it, it's Adolf Hitler. It's okay. No one's mad at you. And those who do get mad at you, we're okay with that. I said, but wait, let me ask you a question. Are you telling me that you can't disagree with anybody? He said, that's right. We can't disagree with anybody. I said, sure you can. He said, no, we can't. I said, you just did. Now, I'm a trial lawyer by training. I do this now for a living, but I'm a trial lawyer by training. I know how to do that kind of thing. I know how to set up a person. And I didn't try to do it like in a sneaky way. But this is a very smart guy. He's a wise man, well-read. And here, because his preference was that he needed to make sure we don't disagree, he was willing to set aside his natural innate wisdom and his intelligence to foster a belief that he knows is not true. So I walked out of that event, And he was by his car, and I was walking to my car, and I heard him, and he was like, if I can't disagree with anybody, but I disagreed with him. He was doing that kind of thing in his head, you know? The point is that sometimes we sacrifice wisdom on the altar of comfort. We want everything to be fine and everything to be good.